and welcome back to TikTok Tuesday. I'm so sorry that I wasn't here last week to upload an episode because I was very busy. I had a lot of projects and papers and presentations piling up, and on top of that I had a person falsely accusing me of verbal harassment, which has been eradicated, and I'm obviously not guilty. So anyway, so now that we are back, I'm going to move on to treatment implications. So I'm going to start with the least invasive and then end at the most invasive type of treatment. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. It's not necessarily used to treat tics or Tourette syndrome, but it's used for like a wide variety, just about anything for treatment. Anxiety, depression, substance abuse, addiction, PTSD, chronic pain, OCD, that's a big one. So it can help with affiliated comorbid disorders. So that's why I'm including it. So CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, is a psychotherapy treatment that is aimed at changing the behaviors, your behavioral patterns and your thought processes, and like targeting the issue and trying to change how you're going to address it, kind of. Like I said, it's a wide variety of techniques involved in it. And it's something I kind of learned about in my psychology of pain class that I'm taking. They have what's called SMART goals. So the goals are going to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So I thought that was interesting to include in there, to really try to figure out, like, you're setting goals for yourself and then trying to attain those goals using the techniques that you learn. And like I said, it's a wide variety, so it changes. It's different for each person, whatever technique it's going to be. So more specific to tic disorders and Tourette syndrome is a very popular treatment implication called Comprehensive Behavioral Intervention for Tics, or CBIT, or CBIT. So I thought I need to address this, because I thought it was just, learning how to suppress your tics, like whatever, just voluntary suppression. And it's not. It's way more. It's like habit reversal. So something that they address would be being aware of your tics when they come. So the awareness, the behaviors to compete with the urge to tic, and changing your day-to-day activities that can help reduce your tics. So when I say habit reversal, it's kind of like switching your urge to tic, and like kind of shifting it so it's not maybe as noticeable. And I do that all the time, where I consider myself, like, I've taught myself how to suppress my tics, and not everybody can, which is why there's other treatment implications. But it's kind of like that, kind of like, okay, I can kind of shift it to something else, and then when you're back and by yourself, or you're comfortable, or your room or whatever, then you can let it out and it's better. But we're normal people. We have to go to work, we gotta go to school, we gotta be social. So that is Comprehensive Behavioral Intervention for Tics. I didn't cover it completely. I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. So after that, I'm going to move on to medicinal, or like medicine, but I'll start with medicinal marijuana, cannabis. I'm going to go ahead and preface this by saying that I'm an advocate for weed. Okay. I love it. I live in Alabama, so it is illegal, but I am an advocate and hope that it will one day be legal for all medicinal and recreational purposes in the United States. But for now, I believe it is only legal, I think, medicinally in like 30 states. I could be wrong, but definitely not Alabama. And Alabama is definitely going to be one of the last people. And that's fine. Like, I know it's going to happen at some point. So although I'm a big believer of it, I will say that, yes, it's legal in these states, but it is not FDA approved. So the FDA is the Food and Drug Administration. It's a very extensive process to approve a drug, or really, or anything. So basically, I kind of know the steps, but to shorten it, they start off with animal testing, and then they go and do different phases of subject testing, where they start with a small sample size and then increase it over time to see the results and how they react. After that, there's going to be non-disclosure agreements with sponsors, meetings, going back and forth with clauses, and then once you get through all that, then you get to approval, or you get denied and you try to start all over again. So I do know that the Tourette Association acknowledges this, and they do support the legal use of medicinal marijuana. I want to talk a little bit more about CBD. I'm sure you've heard of it, because CBD, or cannabidiol, yes, cannabidiol is legal in all 50 states. Not as like smoking it, but topicals, or tinctures. I know you can vape it, solubles, vitamins, supplements. So CBD is available to the public. I want to say this again, even though it's available, it is not FDA approved. And that doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means that it hasn't gone through everything to go to see if it's like all ready to go and approved for general use, I guess. And I know lots of people who use like topicals for more what's the word I'm trying to say? Inflammatory pain, and sometimes for I was gonna say neuropathic pain, or what is it called, visceral pain. So your organs. So maybe if you have bad cramps or something, you can take solubles and put them in your tea, or you can rub lotion on your abdomen, and that can help alleviate some pain. So I know it's seldomly like okay with pain. For tics, it's either or. There's really no actual way to tell if it's good or bad for tics. It really mainly depends on the person, but also because it's not regulated, we don't know exactly what's really going on, I guess you could say. But if it works for you and it works and you're not dependent on it, I want to be dependent. So I know, well, maybe you don't know. So people get confused with this. So marijuana, you cannot get physically dependent on something. And the whole process of addiction and dependence, substance dependence, is very in depth, and I don't know everything about it. All I know is that basically like if I take heroin, for example, it's gonna lock onto your receptors, and eventually, instead of needing it to feel good or feel high, you're gonna need it to feel normal, and could eventually kill you if you don't have it. And it's really bad withdrawals, and like it feels like you're dying. I don't know from personal experience. I'm saying what I do know, just the facts of going through withdrawal. Marijuana, you cannot get physically dependent on, but you can get psychologically dependent on it. So, I mean, I know it's like, oh, well, it's not addictive and everything. I know people say that, but you can get psychologically addicted to it, where you're just like, I just need it every day just to chill out or something. I don't know. But it can be a very useful treatment option. For tics, it's really just either or. I keep going back and forth on this, but for some people, it alleviates tics. I know it's also been pretty good to help with epilepsy and Parkinson's, and dystonia, I believe. But for people who just have tic disorders or tics in general, or Tourette syndrome, sometimes it can make them worse. Sometimes it can make tics worse. And to be quite honest, if you don't know what exactly you're getting, or you're expecting something, it might elicit a placebo response. Which, I mean, that's fine too. I mean, if that works, that works. But it's hard. We need more research. And there is more research being done and is being funded to figure out the benefits of cannabis and marijuana. So moving past that, that's why I wanted to address marijuana, because I know I've heard forever that, oh, weed is great for everything. So I wanted to address like how it really is working its way, and we'll see. So on to medication. So pills, really. There are a bunch. And I don't have every single one listed. I'm not going to. And mainly, I can't name them all. But I do have listed the types of medications. So something called an alpha agonist, or it's a drug that is an alpha-2 agonist. And I really can't get into it because I don't know how the biological implication of it is really, really in depth and too much for me. But real popular types of alpha agonists are going to be clonidine and guanfacine. And guanfacine is mainly used for children who have tics, and I think those have had the most effectiveness, the highest efficacy rate. After that, we have a lot of antipsychotics. And now I know antipsychotics can help with a lot of different things, not just Tourette syndrome. And it's not, I want to address this. A drug labeled an antipsychotic doesn't mean that you are just crazy and you have to take an antipsychotic, and if you don't take it, you're insane. That is absolutely not what that is. So some antipsychotics are going to be haloperidol, pimozide, fluphenazine, I can't speak, risperidone, aripiprazole, ziprasidone, olanzapine. I've tried that one before. It didn't work for me. But just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for someone else. Is that one of them that I've tried? Not that I've tried, but I'm talking to myself at the same time because there's a lot, but I didn't want to put them all on here. I just wanted to put the more common types of medication that someone with a tic disorder or Tourette syndrome might be on. And it could take a long time to figure out if these even work, and if they do, the dosage and, the side effects. There's going to be different things. After that, there's a drug a type of drug. There's a vesicular monoamine transporter 2 inhibitor. And I don't know what that means, so I'm not going to say what it means because I have no idea. And a popular type of medicine. A popular medication is tetrabenazine. I'm not putting the brand names because, again, there's a lot, so I'm just trying to be as general as it is. It doesn't sound general because they're just big words. And lastly, I have on this list are anti-convulsions or anti-epileptic medications, which for me personally has been pretty effective. So I take what's called, the brand is Keppra, and I really can't say the name, but it's levetiracetam, I think is how you say it. But I say Keppra because that's the brand I use, and that's I don't know if that's quite a common brand, but I have heard some people taking it. And another one is clonazepam. So just some different examples of types of medications. And for efficacy, like I said, it depends on the person. And that's going to be that way with any type of medication, just like with marijuana. It's just going to differ among people and how you as an individual are going to handle it, I guess. I don't want to say handle it, but how it's going to help you. A great example for anxiety medications. I take sertraline, or what a lot of people know as Zoloft is the brand. Works perfectly for me. For someone I know, I'm not going to say their name or anything or out them on anxiety, worked horribly, made them nauseous, did not work well at all. And interestingly enough, the first anxiety medication I tried was called buspirone, which I had all the bad side effects. But for this person, it works perfectly for them. Like absolutely perfect. So like I'm saying, it really depends on the person of what kind of medication, if you consider medication. Now, I know a lot of people will say medication is the last resort, and I seldomly agree with that, because I think medication should be actually the second to last resort, and the last resort should be surgical implications. So the last one I want to talk about is deep brain stimulation. Now, I don't have much time left to talk about it, and it gets pretty in depth. So basically, deep brain stimulation is a surgical procedure where they go inside your brain, and they go in there and they find what's causing or where your tics are coming from, and they put a device in that stimulates it, and you get a remote or something like an app or something that you can control it, so you can turn it on and off. And it can be very effective, mainly for people who have very bad cases, and also OCD I've heard is pretty effective as well. But those are the treatment implications, and I know it's Thanksgiving week, so I hope you'll have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving, and I will see y'all next week, I promise. Bye.